Hello everyone, this is Clint Cameron. I'm a product manager with CxEngage, and today I want to take you through a short demo about showing you how to create a contact list, an outbound contact list. And so just a quick overview, this is the list that you will create. It's going to hold all the contacts that you will then upload into the campaign. So this is how we get our set of contacts uploaded into our campaign that we create. So starting point is a CSV file. That's the format we need here, comma, separated values. And I've already pulled up a template and added a couple visual cues. So as you can see, we have A through J columns. And starting with the first column is lead ID. I have that highlighted in yellow to indicate that is a required field. It's a simple string. So that's where you're going to enter typically the person's name. So whatever your contact's name is, but you can use any string you want there. The second required field is contact. So this is literally the number that is going to be dialed, or the number for the SMS, and that's simply in E164 format. So it's country code and then the number. Next, we move on to the optional columns. So for the optional columns, these are columns where they can help a campaign get a little more granular. So for example, time zone. Whenever I enter a optional setting or parameter into a contact list, that is going to override any equivalent campaign defaults. So for example, time zone. Campaigns do have a default time zone that will be used unless we have a time zone called out in a record in the contact list. Those records in the contact list, they will take precedence over any campaign default settings. For example, here, if we have America, Chicago, and I were to have America, Honolulu in the actual campaign default, for that particular record, when it gets dialed, it's going to use the America, Chicago time zone. So a little bit about how the the granularity and the precedence for your campaigns. So moving on, we have expiry. That is simply an expiry date for a given record. So if we want to have a record expire at a date that is earlier than our overall campaign ending date, then you can specify it here. Now note that the expiry for a campaign is the expiry for the campaign. So if I set a date in my contact list that is after the campaign expiry, then that's not going to take effect. So that is one thing where the actual contact list doesn't take precedence, because when we talk about a campaign date expiry, that is effectively turning off the campaign. It's stopping the dialer. So any dates that are on records that are after that date are pretty much moot because the campaign is stopped. Okay, so a couple more columns: contact time, contact date. So again, if I have a very specific time frame where I want this contact to be dialed, then you would enter the time and date here. Then we move on to max retries. So again, it's an override that if you want for a particular record, maybe a set of contacts in my campaign, I actually want to try them a few more times than maybe my overall campaign default, I can enter it right here. And then I can also put in a custom retry interval. And then finally, to finish things off, we have an action column. The action column is telling the upload, it's telling the campaign what to do with the upload, right? So each and every row in this contact list has an action. If I leave this particular cell blank, it's going to assume an add, and that means I'm going to go ahead and add this contact into my campaign. If I need to remove remove a record, then I can use remove. Any edits would be an add. So if the contact already exists and I want to maybe just change the expiry date, then the action would be an add. So think of it as an add/update, and then remove obviously just completely removes that contact. And then finally, we round it off with regions. This is just an ISO to country code to indicate what country the contact is in. So That's the summary. That is how you create the contact list, and from there it's just entering numbers, right? So once you have that, save it as a CSV file, and then you can upload that into your campaign. All right, thank you very much.